Pokemon knowledge. It is that time of week again. If you guys do not know, every Thursday night at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I do my weekly live, and this is one of those weeks. There's a bunch of things to talk about this week, and it's going to touch base on some topics we've mentioned in some previous videos, but I think a lot of people are curious about just Japanese 151. Is now a good time to get in and buy? I talked really positively about the glory of Team Rocket on my most recent video, and in today's video we can also do a hypothetical, which I find unlikely, but anything's possible, is what happens if the glory of the Team Rocket just sucks as a set? Could that just like dash all hopes that people really had for a big stalker set? Listen, I'm leaning towards I find that unlikely, but I'm willing to entertain the thought of what can a stinker set potentially look like. And then just a real baseline, like, what should you be buying right now? I think a lot of people are looking at two things. That's why I'm going to talk about 151 a little bit. Is, Japanese 151 prices are continuing to tick down. I made a video not too long ago and I said I think I feel comfortable buying Japanese 151, and at the time of recording that video I hadn't pulled the trigger, and still today I haven't pulled the trigger yet. So I think there's still like a little bit of a drop that can do. The problem is now I'm just getting super greedy. Like, between $50 to $60 booster boxes really look good. So like a lot of people will maybe make that argument is 151's a good spot to kind of put your money right now. But one of the things I'm looking at right now, and I promise you it's getting harder and harder, but I'm just finding literally any products right now that have Evolving Skies in it. They're drying up. Like, if you guys are not subscribed to Pokemon TCG Drops on Twitter, I recommend you, even if you just get a Twitter account and you only follow one single account, I recommend you guys follow Pokemon TCG Drops, because one, he's a really good account and he has like a lot of great updates on modern product and things that are being released. So yeah, if you're only going to follow one person on Twitter, make a separate Twitter account that's just him and only put on notifications for him. I recommend it. But any set right now, any product that has loose packs of Evolving Skies, I just think there are pickups right now, because yeah, you're probably going to get Evolving Skies, but maybe you're still going to get lucky and maybe there'll be a pack of Fusion Strike or Brilliant Stars or some other, middle-of-the-road set, and it's just worth it right now. Now, those products are drying up more and more. It's just simple as going on Target.com and checking Target restocks and stuff just to pick up products with Evolving Skies. There's a lot of, like, 4-pack tins that are selling on different websites, different platforms, whether it's Target, whether it's Hills Wholesale Gaming. Now this is the tricky thing, especially when you talk about, like 19, I'm talking like 4-pack 19.99 tins, because Evolving Skies is gonna be worth like 50% of the value of that tin. That's about a $10 pack right now, and I'm seeing packs of Evolving Skies sell pretty regularly at that $10, looking at what the booster box price is doing. So if you're able to get a buy-in price for Evolving Skies at $5 a pack by getting, some of these auxiliary products, I call them tins, honestly, it's definitely worth it right now. And the tricky part is, and I want you to be very careful and very cautious of what products you're buying, because there's a lot of tins that have existed that have had Evolving Skies in it, and a lot of those tins have changed. And then even recently, a good example, this is going back, I want to say like 2020 timeline, there was the Jolteon, Vaporeon, Flareon tins. Those tins all had Evolving Skies in it. I think it was like Evolving Skies, it was like a Sword and Shield base in there, maybe Fusion Strike and something else. But either way, it was 4 packs, one of them were Evolving Skies. That tin, they ended up reprinting those tins and putting like Scarlet and Violet error packs in. I want to say it's like maybe 3, I don't even know what packs. It's like 3 Scarlet and Violet base and 1 Paldea Evolve. So be very careful and tread lightly when you're buying these tins, and do a little bit of research. And a lot of times the research you're going to have to do is people sharing links to products that have Evolving Skies in it, and then reading literally just the comments where people are like, oh, I just picked this up the other day and there were 2 Evolving Skies packs in and stuff. So that would be my recommendation to people right now, is if you're looking for anything, just pick up loose Evolving Skies packs in tins, collection boxes, whatever it is. And you can go on eBay right now, and one of the best things to search is just collection boxes and find the cheapest collection box that has Evolving Skies in it. People usually have photos, because the days of picking up Evolving Skies are, especially at, I call it that $5 price range, it's drying up every single day. To do those pickups, to find those products that have Evolving Skies in it, is drying up faster and faster and faster. And I've literally watched it happen this entire year. We are just broke into the very, very early days of June. And for the last 6 months, I've watched that play dry up to almost, like, imagine if it was a giant lake bed. Right now, we are just little teeny puddles left in this, what used to be a giant lake. I'm now just seeing real sparse puddles in this lake. They're out there, but you really, really have to search for them now. And those plays that you're going to have to search for are going to dry up soon. A great example, or something that reminds me of, is team up packs. Team up packs in 2021, 2022 was the exact same situation. Team up packs still existed in like March of 2022, but the problem is a lot of people like just stopped searching for loose team up packs, because one, they weren't maybe super familiar with the tins, or maybe that some of the tins had creeped up. They were originally $19.99, they were selling for like $29.99, or like they'd creeped up $10, and people kind of stopped looking for those. But those plays existed. But Team Up played out exactly the same way as I'm watching Evolving Skies. The products that had Team Up in it, it was a giant lake, and then again, it just kept, getting smaller and smaller and smaller, until eventually, in order to find Team Up packs, and it was like that giant lake just became puddles. And some of the products that even were like your go-to products for Team Up packs. One of the products a lot of people think of is like the tag team tins. There was the Mewtwo and Mew. There was the Celebi and Venusaur. And then I think it was like the Pikachu and Zekrom tins, the tag team tins. Those had Team Up packs in it. They had Cosmic Eclipse pack in it. But then what happened? Pokemon reprinted those tins, and they got rid of all the Team Up packs, got rid of all the Cosmic Eclipse packs, and ended up just putting Sword and Shield packs in it. And so that play dried up. And the same things happened with Evolving Skies. So if you can right now, that would be my recommendation. I don't know how I could word it any differently for you. That's probably like the last play. Because I think once the days of Evolving Skies loose packs completely dry up, the price is going to go crazy for the single pack. Very similar to what we saw happen with Team Up. Are they going to be $50 Team Up packs? No, I don't think so. But they're already selling for $10 right now. So if you could pick them up through a tin and your price point per pack is $5, you're still already doing kind of good. Another thing I want to ask, and I brought it up on a recent live, is do you guys know what this is? Do you recognize it? So this was the Reese's Puff box that I had talked about in live, and if you like switch it a little bit, do you see it's holographic? So you have the Goku, but then if you move it a little bit, he goes Super Saiyan. And then on the back, it's the same thing. So the back is not hollow, but I'll take it out of the box. I don't care, because I only bought one. It's a personal collection item. But I want to know, let me know down in the chat. The holographic box is pretty cool. Especially, I don't know if you're really able to see it on camera, but in person, this box really, really... Oh, that's a good look for it. The Super Saiyan. How awesome is that? This box was $40, which, don't get me wrong, $40 for a box of Reese's Puffs was a lot of money. But I showcased this box in one of my videos, and I'm curious out there, how many of you guys actually went and bought this box? And if you did buy this box, did you buy this box because I showcased it on a live? It was just one of those random things. I know it wasn't a Pokemon thing, but I was tagged in a few posts by a decent amount of people who were all thanking me for getting this. And also, how this thing was shipped to me was wild. It came in this plastic. I wouldn't call it acrylic, but it's like a plastic see-through case. It's a little cloudy. Like, I definitely wish it was much clearer. But then it came in like a cardboard box and then another cardboard box around it. The way they shipped this thing was definitely to protect it, and I'm gonna actually. This is now gonna go on my shelf back there. I think it's a pretty cool box for $40. I saw what they were pre-order selling for on eBay, but I am curious if the prices have gone up more or if it's the same. Uh, Fat Belly Collect says, I bet PK got that acrylic before the box even came in. No, the acrylic came with it. Like, when you bought it, it was shipped to you with that acrylic case. It was pretty wild. So, yeah. And then the last topic I had that I talked about earlier is I've been super bullish on the glory of Team Rocket. You only got to literally go back as my last video to hear about how positive I am, but I'm willing to do the hypothetical, which, again, I find unlikely, is what happens if the glory of the Team Rocket is a stinker set. And I think the only way that it could potentially have the makings to be a stinker set is if Pokemon just ended up making it, one, a specialty set. Now, this is the thing. We're taking a couple things for granted. Is we're assuming that the glory of the Team Rocket will be a main expansion. That's what I'm leaning to, but we don't have confirmation on that. All we have is just the name glory of Team Rocket has been copyrighted by Pokemon. There's a chance that it is just a specialty set. So if it is a specialty set, that means no booster boxes. That could potentially hurt the set. And we're assuming that if it's not a main expansion pack, so no booster box, if it is a specialty set, we're assuming it's at least going to be a large specialty set. And Pokemon has a track record of having smaller specialty sets. A perfect example recently is Celebrations. Celebrations was only a 25 card main set with an additional 25 alt-art cards on the back end. There were a couple promos and stuff too that would add on to that 25 numbers, but for the main set it was only 50 cards. If something like that were to roll out where Glory of Team Rocket is a specialty set and it is a super small set, that I can see that where that would really dash a lot of people's hopes for this set. Or if Pokemon just really drops the ball and the artists just do not have that innate ability to just art, and the art for this set is pretty trash and a lot of people are just super disappointed, or maybe they focus too hard on strictly the modern Pokemon. So if they're just focusing on the most obscure of modern Pokemon and they don't do any tributes back to the older sets, if they don't pay any homage to that original Team Rocket Gen 1 Kanto vibes, if they just ignore all that and they just go super, super strong with the most modern Pokemon, yes, that is the only way I could really see this set falling off. I find all that shit very unlikely, but I said I would at least do the hypothetical. I think that would be worst case scenario. What I think is going to happen is the opposite. I think it's going to be a main expansion. I think it's going to be amazing artwork. I think they're going to pay some sort of homage back to one of these earlier Team Rocket sets, whether it's Team Rocket Base, whether it's EX Team Rocket Returns. This is another thing that Pokemon could always go back and do, and I don't think it's likely because ETBs exist, and now, if you know, ETBs for modern sets now have a promo card with it. So that is a relatively new thing. Obviously, ETBs always had promo cards in it for specialty sets, but for main expansions, there was never a promo card with it. It didn't start until Scarlet and Violet Base, and then we saw it with Paldea Evolved with the Pikachu, and then Obsidian Flames with that Charmander. We started to see these exclusive promos added to the ETB, but it's a relatively new thing that only started in the Scarlet and Violet block, with the exception of any specialty sets. But one of the things that Pokemon did a long time ago is they used to do box toppers for sets. And I always kind of like in the back of my head is just like, in what situation would it be required for Pokemon to go back and do box toppers? Now, I think some people might know like box toppers, but then they might not know box toppers. I think instantly some people think of box toppers as oversized cards. So if people are thinking oversized cards, that means they're going back to like late WotC box toppers. So Legendary Collection, Expedition, Aquapolis, Skyridge. They had, you know, bigger box toppers. Skyridge didn't even have like a Pokemon like blue Pokeball back to it. It was more like a plastic card. It had like a see-through back. So I think some people think box toppers like that, but there were a lot of later sets that had box toppers too. Legend Maker had the Pikachu, which Pikachu is 93 out of 92, I think. And then Team Rocket Returns had the Dark Charmeleon, which was a, they called them secret rares at that point. They weren't really so much called box toppers, but they were more like secret rares. And then, yeah, I'm trying to think of what was so Delta Species had what did Delta Species had? Can't even remember all the box toppers right now, but I was wondering like, could Pokemon ever go back and make a promo like call it the secret rare box topper for booster boxes, because I wonder if that would drive a little bit more demand towards booster boxes, and if it would actually like help increase the price of some of these modern booster boxes that are a little bit stagnant at release. But the only problem is I'm like, I don't see that happening, only because the ETBs exist now. And in the past, ETBs were never a thing, so there was no promos or anything that existed that were ETB exclusive. So while I don't think it's possible that Pokemon will do that anytime soon, because then in a way Pokemon will be double promoing every set. So then they'll be double promoing in the sense that there will still be the ETB promo, but then they'll also be double promoing it with, call it the box topper or that secret rare. So it's just it was an interesting thought that I was kind of just thinking about today. And no, I think the problem is too is just too many people out there. Again, they're gonna think box toppers and they're just gonna think jumbo cards. And again, we live in modern jumbo cards, or modern jumbo cards come in collection boxes. Like jumbo cards were just pretty much the size of a booster box. So pretty much a jumbo card was about the size of two cards put together. So, real quick, because it is Thursday, I just do my little rant at the beginning, then I'm going to go read the chat. Once I get to the bottom of chat, that's going to be it. But if any of you guys have any questions, put it down in the chat now, and I'll get to it. But real quick, we got Aaron, the Mexican Hipster, Jimmy Blake, McNick, Shug Nasty, Drew Teeny, Brody, good to see all you guys. Max Powers, always love the name Max Powers. Always love The Simpsons. If you don't know, Homer Simpson changed his name for a while to Max Power, and when they asked Homer, how did you get the name Max Powers? He goes, well, I got it off a hairdryer. So, a little bit of Simpsons trivia for you, ladies and gentlemen. Jimmy said, let the ranting begin, yeah. So Max says he's currently in the process of moving, so he's packing all his Pokemon stuff while listening to this live. Pokemon alone, just the sheer inventory some people have, is probably enough to make people not want to move. One, I don't want to pack stuff. And second, the thought of like having to unpack all this Pokemon stuff just sounds dreadful to me. And I don't know if you guys have this problem. Maybe it's not a problem, but for a long time, my inventory was very, very sporadic. I didn't know where anything was. And one of the beautiful things that happened was making this channel and then making this setup downstairs. I was able to organize things a lot better. Like, there's a lot of shelves. It goes far this way. It's a lot of shelves and stuff. But one of the beautiful things about the channel is it really, in a way, made me do a better inventory, so I really know where a lot of my stuff is. But the thought of having to now have everything where I kind of know where it is today, I still lose stuff sporadically. And usually, like, if I'm doing a live and I can't find a card, I'll be laying in bed at night and then it will pop into my brain like, that's where that was. So everything is only lost so much. things are not lost forever. It's just sometimes it takes me a while. But the thought of moving and having to pack and unpack stuff, oh, brutal. Uh, so, Son of a Mewtwo says it's unreal to me that YouTube still runs ads for channel members. Yeah, so, and then he said, Drew, number one mod in the game. I don't put, well, I put ads on this, like my videos, but the frequency that these ads play, I don't control that. I have heard from people that I could go in and like manually remove the ads. It just sounds really, really like tough. So let me know if you guys are just getting bombarded with ads, because I know a lot of people out there that have YouTube Premiums, not recommending getting YouTube Premium because that's expensive. But if you are getting bombarded with ads, please let me know. Shook Nasty said, saw somebody on Facebook selling Japanese 151 cases at 500. Not sure how legit it is. So 500 would actually be the cheapest I've ever seen. I've seen kind of close to 500, but off by like $50. So, I mean, that's the thing. If Japanese 151 keeps dropping, it's funny. Like, we had... It seems like Japanese 151 is going to keep hitting the market. It seems like it's still actively being printed right now. So it is going to be interesting how Japanese 151 really plays out. Fat Belly Collect says those tag team promos are underrated. He just picked up 2 Zards and Venusaurs up. Yeah, I saw actually today at the time of recording this video. I never saw what it ended at, but it was a lot of bids. And I want to say like it was the Venusaur and Celebi tag team in a PSA 10. It was already up to like $56 or $60, so there's still demand for that card right now. Another thing too is, I don't know if you guys are running into this, but I'm having random stuff on some of my different eBay accounts like sell. Stuff that has been stagnant now for a pretty decent amount of time. I'll randomly just get an influx where I'll get like a bunch of sales through some pretty stagnant inventory, and I'm just wondering if that is just a very analytical thing or if that is a more like hobby-wide thing. V Vanky said, holy shit, that's cool. Box. Jimbo Slice said, yeah, lenticular. Yeah, the box. If you guys followed the channel, I made a video. I'm going to see if I could... God, what video was it? I don't even remember. It probably was about a month ago. But yeah, I showed the box the day I ordered. I was like, hey, listen, if you guys want this box, it's up. Here's a link to... I'm not getting a kickback from Reese's Puffs to shill that box, but it is a pretty cool box. So Fresh Tat says, you going to eat the cereal? Probably not, even though I should. No, it's now officially in my second cereal box, so if you look right there, I got that Ninja Turtle cereal box right up there, which I think that Ninja Turtles cereal box is actually way cooler than this one. I've showed that box on like some of the lives in the past. Let's see. So Beavis Jones says, was that mixed in with regular boxes at the store? No, that was a specialty order thing you had to get from Reese'sPuffs.com. Garen M said, Pokemon Center should take notes on how to ship. Yeah, there's some... The weird thing is the whole sealed product, keeping everything mint. I get it. But yeah, Pokemon Center definitely could drop the ball sometimes. Especially when you get Pokemon Center ETBs. If you're not getting... Pokemon Center, for a time, was forcing you to get 4 Pokemon Center ETBs because they would ship it in the sealed box with the stop tape on it and stuff. There were so many times where I would just say, you know what, I don't really love this ETB, I'm just going to get 1 or 2 of them, and I was just having Pokemon Center ETBs getting shipped to me non-stop with the razor cut right in the center of them. So, like, obviously when you're cutting that stop tape, if you go too deep with the razor, you're just going to have that razor blade cut right across. Had that happen to me for like 2 different ETBs for 2 different releases back to back, and I was like, all right, I just got to buy sealed cases of 4 to prevent this from happening. So yeah, Pokemon Center should definitely take notes. So Son of a Merc said he grabbed one of the cereal boxes as well. They look really good, packaged the same. Yeah, they're packaged really well. So Della TCG said, just stopping by this, say hey. So Dark Lava Lizard said you have to get a Mint Factory sealed Kellogg's Pokemon Center box to match. Yeah. Uh, Son of a Merc said these are $40 emergency rations. That's a good way to look at it. So, in the event of a zombie apocalypse, when all my food like runs out, in the back of my head, I will remember. Wait a second. I do have a box of Reese's Puffs down on my shelves, and maybe that will be enough to get my family through the apocalypse. So, that's big braining right there, son of a Merc. I like where your brain's at. Uh, Tennis Wolf said, "Glory the Team Rocket, the next Pokemon Go stinker." Ooh, hot take. Uh, Shug Nasty said, "Watch Glory the Team Rocket not even be a set. Just watch it be some merch." Well, it was copyrighted by the trading card aspect of it. So real quick, Son of Mewtwo said, "Prayers up for amazing Team Rocket set." I don't know how I missed your super chat, but I jumped right to the bottom and I saw it. Let's see. But I do appreciate you, Son of a Mewtwo, man. You're always out there in the lives, and I do appreciate the super chats. You're one of the real ones, buddy. I appreciate it. Speaking of the real ones, Mr. Basic Trainer himself. Basic Trainer is officially the person that has been on my channel the most out of everyone. We should have like more schedule lives with Basic Trainer. But then again, the way me and Basic Trainer do operate with our lives is they're very, very sporadic. But Basic Trainer, whenever I'll ask him to be on a live, I'll write like a long thing like, "Hey, you mind coming on?" Blah, blah, and then all he writes back is, "Say no more." Basic's always there. He's one of the real ones. I think when we had Basic on for my most recent live, it was just, the title of the video was Absolute G-Gens Talking Pokemon. And I think Basic said he's now officially been on 17 or 18 different Pokemon channels, which is a crazy thing to think about. For somebody who, for most of his YouTube career, yes, Basic Trainer has his own YouTube channel, never updates to it, never posts to it, except for that epic 24-hour live stream that Basic did where a bunch of people jumped on. But the fact that before Basic really had his own YouTube channel, just being an all-star in a lot of the chats and Discord groups and stuff, the fact that he was invited on to like 17 or 18 different YouTube channels is a wild statistic when you think about it, especially in this Pokemon hobby. So, Basic, you're a real one. You're always doing the grind, and we appreciate you. So, real quick, Smokin' Red says, "Hey PK, yesterday was my birthday and I pulled the Moonbreon and Glaceon VMAX from Evolving Skies in 7 packs. Still don't believe this is real life right now." Well, first of all, Smoke Reds, happy birthday, buddy. June 5th is an awesome day for a birthday. But more importantly, the fact that out of 7 Evolving Skies packs, you pulled both the Moonbreon and Glaceon VMAX, it's starting to make me think, I have to ask a question. Where did you get those packs from? Because there is the potential that for Evolving Skies God packs to exist. I've seen them happen in real life. So there were batches of Charizard UPCs that went out that had Evolving Skies God packs in it. And when I went down to Rusty's house in Charlotte, Rusty, when everybody was there, Rusty handed out a bunch of Evolving Skies God packs to people. I think he ended up, Rusty's super generous, I forget. He handed out probably like 200 God packs to people. And 6 Moonbreons were pulled. Multiple, or was it 7? It was 6 or 7 Moonbreons were pulled. Multiple Rayquazas were pulled. Multiple Altarts. It was wild. And so we do know Evolving Skies God packs do exist. Rusty was able to find a bunch. It was one of the coolest opening experience. I've never seen so many Moonbreons pulled in my life. I've never seen so many Rayquazas pulled in my life. Just shows you how generous a guy like Rusty is too, which is awesome. Rusty, if you're out there, we appreciate you, buddy. But Smokin' Reds, I am interested if you just happen to have a batch of Evolving Skies God packs and maybe you didn't even know. Did you open up some Charizard UPCs? So Pokemage87 says, "PK, I have an order at PSA that has been in the completing step for 2 weeks. Send help, please." Oh, Pokemage, you're on your own. Dude, sometimes that PSA final steps can be I'll have a card sit in stage 4, which is that I think actually PSA has recently changed their steps, but either way, I would have it in the stage 4 grading for what felt like forever, and then almost overnight it would go into shipping. It was like it would skip all the steps, and then Pokemage, I've also been in the same situation for you where I've had my cards fly through the grading process and then be in that final step, the completing step, and then have it sit there for a week, week and a half, 2 weeks. I can't tell you like the rhyme or reason behind that, so it just is what it is, man. People are saying happy birthday, the Smoking Reds. Yeah, happy birthday, buddy. Son of Mewtwo said Japanese 151 will be massive in 10 years. Buy the dip. Yeah. There's a lot of. I mean, my two buys right now that I'm saying I'm currently liking in this market are Japanese 151 is definitely one of them. I would say to potentially pick up one sealed case of Paldea Evolved in the small likelihood that Paldea Evolved does not see a reprint. I recommend picking up one sealed case. I think it was 2 weeks ago I showed Hillsole Seal Game and had cases for $671. Solid price. Oh no, 571. Is it 571? How much was it? 670. Oh, that's $100 price difference. Either way, I think it was 671. But either way, I recommend picking up one case of Paldea Evolved, so 6 boxes, just to put it away, just in case a reprint doesn't happen. Japanese 151, I recommend picking it up. And then, as I mentioned earlier in today's video, any auxiliary products that have Evolving Skies packs in it where you could get your cost per pack to $5. And again, those plays are running out. I did my whole rant at the beginning of this video, but those are my 3 buys right now. I think a lot of people are asking about Silver Tempest. When is Silver Tempest going to buy or sell out on PokemonCenter.com? It's probably coming soon. I haven't made my PK video yet saying Silver Tempest, please sell out on PokemonCenter.com. When I do make that video, Silver Tempest will sell out instantly. And let me just make sure that it's not sold out. Oh, Pokemon Center. Oops. Do wanna I just want to double check. Oh, my computer broke. I don't know. Somebody let me know. Let's see. Silver Tempest. Let's see. Silver Tempest on Pokemon Center booster boxes are still in stock, and there's still only the purchase limit of 4. So, no, I have not made my video yet saying those are going to sell out, so they're not going to sell out just yet. We'll give it time. Wait for me to give you the old nod of the cap. Let's see. Son of a Mewtwo said, one of these days we have to grab some brews with the boy. Basic has great content. Son of a Mewtwo, we'll be in Jersey Collecticon. If you're around the Jersey area, the weekend of July 20th, I recommend you going there. Also, if you guys haven't, I know Dan Catchmall Collectibles pinned it in the Collecticon group, but if you guys haven't booked your hotels for Jersey Collecticon, I recommend if you're going to do like the sponsored hotel, which again, sponsored hotel for Jersey Collecticon really sucks because it's like a 15-minute drive to the convention center. That's a real bummer. I'm telling you, Jersey Collecticon is not set up to be like the most ideal location, but I think people-wise, it's going to be worth it. So if you guys haven't booked your hotel yet, I do recommend you booking your hotel because I called last night and it seems like the hotel's filling up pretty quick. So just something to put in the back of your mind, especially if you want to like do Collecticon not just for the buying and selling aspect. If you want to do it for more the social interaction aspect of Pokemon, then you can't really go wrong with the sponsored hotel because that's usually going to be, if there's any trade nights, that's where it's going to be in like the hotel lobby, or if anybody rents out like a room at the hotel, that's definitely going to be the spot. Let's see. Son of a Merc said, how would sentiment be if Team Rocket sets end up being the newer gen Pokemon? I think there would be a lot of people who would be pretty shocked by it, me being one of them, just because there is no Team Rocket in the Scarlet and Violet era. So it would not really make that much sense, but I can definitely see some newer Pokemon being in the Team Rocket set for sure, though. Like, 100%. And I think that's something you don't want to just rehash every single dark yeah, like how many dark Tyrannotars are you gonna have? How many dark Charizards are you gonna have? You can't just recycle all this early stuff. You gotta have to put in some of this later, Gen 7, 8, 9. But I think we will see that. So Smokin' Red says, I don't like grading and never have, but would like to grade the Moonbryon, but super scared of the PSA horror stories, especially on a card that's so sentimental to him now. Don't worry, Smokin' Reds. Like, all the issues that happen with grading, like, there's always the danger. It's like being afraid of the post office, being afraid of PSA. Don't be afraid of any of these companies. Like, there's so many cards are graded by these grading card companies a year. Like, the percentage of the cards that are actually damaged during that grading process on a like purely percentage basis is so incredibly low. Plus the fact that you don't seem to grade a lot of cards, the percentages and the chances of you having your one card that you're sending away for grading being damaged is so like extremely small. Now, the thing I will give you a warning for is if you do love that card and you do believe it's near mint and you do believe that it has that sentimental factor to you and that's why you enjoy it because you pulled it on your birthday and because it was a special experience. But with that said, if you do get a PSA 9 and then because that card is quote unquote not perfect anymore by some arbitrary grading by some grader who didn't get laid the night before, so he decided to be a dick and give that card a 9 where on a normal basis that card should be a 10 all day, and then you don't feel comfortable with cracking cases and you're not going to feel comfortable resubmitting that card until you eventually do get that 10. If you are worried that if that card gets a 9 and because it's a PC item and you hold it sentimental to you, but you're going to somehow feel that that card is no longer worthy or however you want to phrase that, then I recommend not grading if that scenario you can see potentially being one to play out. So D. Sooney said, currently CGC Pristine 10s are going for a premium over PSA 10s. Do you think this will always last? I'm currently new to collecting and still can't decide which company would be best for long term. So first, the CGC Pristine's going for more than PSA 10s. That's a super anecdotal thing. You're probably going to find yourself looking for those sales. That while that is true for some cards, it's not true across the board. The second thing you have to keep in mind in order to get a CGC Pristine 10 is going to be way harder than getting a PSA 10. And so if you end up getting a CGC 10, which by CGC standards is still a gem mint card, and probably would also be a PSA 10, if you get that CGC 10, then your likelihood of selling that card equal or more than a PSA card goes to almost zero. That card almost 100% of the time is going to sell for less than a PSA 10. So the cost reward in that situation, you're really going to have to weigh it out. But the fact that you're very new to grading, I would recommend until you feel really comfortable with grading standards and you get really comfortable at what a truly near mint card is, and then you can maybe submit that card to CGC in order to get that true CGC Pristine. But you got to be careful because if you're undergrading cards or you're overgrading cards and you're going either end of that spectrum and you're not getting a high Pristine 10 rate, then you're going to find yourself losing out on a ton of money. And the same conversation could be said equally with Beckett. You know, if you're going for strictly the Beckett Black Label and you feel like you're a good pre-grader, but you're getting whopped with Beckett 9s or Beckett 9.5s and you're not hitting any of the Beckett Gold Label 10s or any of the Beckett Black Label 10s, then you're going to get beat up pretty bad. And you're probably going to look at all the cards you sent to Beckett in the same way you're going to look at all the cards you sent to CGC and said, man, my Black Label rate or my Pristine rate was so low, it would have just been worth it to send all these cards to PSA. And because you're a little bit newer to grading, that's what I would recommend, is just send all your cards to PSA, Get a couple eights, get a couple nines, really examine those cards, study those cards, figure out why you got those grades, and then when you feel you do understand like true card condition, then yeah, then you could take a couple like chances at a CGC Pristine 10 or a Beckett Black Label. Then, but be hesitant. Don't do that right off the bat, especially if you're new to grading and you go in right with CGC. In my opinion, terrible, terrible decision. Terrible, terrible. Like, terrible. CGC, terrible. Oh, let's see. Um, so Dark Lava Lizard said, "Just pray your orders don't get graded in New Jersey. That office is brutal on grade compared to others that come from Cali." I have. There's a little bit of truth to that. I have seen that at a point, but also what I've found is a lot of the cards that are getting sent to Jersey is a lot of like the more bulk submissions, and so any of the higher tiers because they have you shipping it to California. So if you're doing the higher tiers, it's usually getting graded by the California graders, and then the bulk submissions are getting sent to Jersey. And what I do find happens occasionally is the bulk grades or the bulk submissions are the ones people are willing to inherently take more chances. You know, those borderline 9 or 10s. Anybody sending at higher service levels, you're probably really, really pre-grading those cards pretty rough, and you're only sending your absolute best possible contenders at those higher tier levels. So because they're getting graded by California, they are getting higher 10 rates because you're doing a harsher pre-grading, where when you're sending a lot of cards to bulk, you know, you might have that borderline 9 and 10. You're just like, you know what, fuck it. Send it anyways. And then it end up coming back a 9, or maybe you get super unlucky, hits an 8. But, yeah. Jersey can be hit or miss, definitely. Nexus says, always use registered mail when sending through USPS for grading. It's so hard for them to lose the package when using that mail-in method. So that's actually a really good point that Nexus puts. So anytime I send cards to... So, real quick, D. Suni, I appreciate the super chat, buddy. Yeah, I'm happy I got to answer your question, too. But Nexus brought up a good point. Whenever I send cards to PSA, it doesn't matter how big the submission is, I'm always sending it in a flat rate box. More, I would say, 9 times out of 10, I'm usually sending it in a small flat rate box because my card submissions to PSA recently has only been between 25 and 50 cards. They're not huge. If you're doing like a big order, then you might want to like put it in a box and then put it in a medium flat rate box and send it. But I always send it in a priority mail flat rate box. And one, you're going to get 2 things. You get that added protection of a box. It's easier to put the pack and slip in there. You can wrap your cards in bubble mailers. You have a little bit of play. If your submission gets a little bit too big, it does get tough with small boxes. Medium flat rate box, it's worth it because at that point, you know, the cost difference between sending a first pack first class bubble mailer, which I highly, highly do not recommend doing that because you don't want your cards, especially like cards that are going to be in card saver ones, getting ready for grading. You don't want to take the chance of those getting bent. You definitely don't want. So you definitely already want the protection of a flat rate box. And then by sending it priority, you know it's going to get there a little bit faster. Your tracking is already guaranteed. You're going to get a very, very small amount of insurance included. So yes, Nexus, I do agree with you to not be cheap on sending cards to PSA because, you know, the difference between a first class box versus a priority mailbox, you're probably spending like $4 or $5 more. But for the peace of mind, for knowing it's going to get there safer, and at that point too, it's very, very inconspicuous too. And if you do have in the back of your mind that you are afraid that some USPS postal worker in one of their, you know, distribution hubs is kind of in a way keeping an eye out for certain types of packages. Usually, now this is not true across the board because we've seen James get large flat rate boxes where the bottom was cut out and then they had to go through the United States Postal Service, go through his insurance carrier, and then find out that the post office actually weighs these packages at different stops, like, and you can't even see that information through your like tracking portal. The only way you could actually see that they weigh these boxes at different stops is that's an internal thing if you go to the post office. what your tracking looks like versus what the tracking looks like for somebody at the post office. They're able to see way more things throughout that step. So they actually weigh priority mailboxes like at different stops. So you are given like a little bit of added protection. So I definitely recommend doing that. So Smoking Reds, so he gave us an answer where he got the packs from. He said, "Thank you, PK, for the tips. I don't know if you saw my other comment. I didn't, but he said he got the packs from his local game store, and they said they were from tins and collection boxes. Okay. You might have just got super, super lucky, man, which is wild. I mean, the fact that you pulled a Glaceon and a Boombrion out of 7 packs is wild. Nexus says you should 100% organize a low-stakes private poker game between the Pokemon YouTube/creators during Collecticon. Listen, there's a man out there. He's one of the spicy boys, Ernesto. Ernesto thinks he's a good poker player. Ernesto, I'm calling you out, buddy. If you ever want to play poker, I would love to have a little poker game at the Jersey Collecticon if you're going to be there, man. I think there's a lot of D-gens in this chat. I think there's a lot of D-gens in this hobby. I think a lot of people would... I don't know about low-stakes poker, but I'm sure there would be a couple people here would want to do some higher-stake poker. Maybe we'll use slabs as chips. I don't know. So... Daniel Ruse says, I've done 2 BGS orders, 20 cards in total, 4 black labels. If I'm confident it will gem mint, it's going to BGS. Oh, wow. So you've gotten 4 black labels out of 20 cards. Were you sending Pokemon cards, or were you sending like One Piece, or what were you sending? Because that's a pretty high black label rate, which good for you, man. Yeah. Let's see. So Stevie TCG said your own block box plus priority mail padded flat rate envelope is the way to go. Learn from Rusty. Works great. That's something I didn't talk about either. The problem is that's a very good example. Yes, that's actually the cheaper way to do it, is to do your own box and the priority rail flat rate bubble mailer. That is a very good point. Stevie TCG, good comment right there. All right, guys, I got work early tomorrow morning, unfortunately. One of the only things shitty about making Thursday Night Lives is that I have work still on Friday. Just sometimes you get tired, man. Working throughout the week. It is Thursday, and I've worked 44 hours this week. So, worked 12 hours on Monday, 12 hours on Tuesday, 12 hours on Wednesday, and 8 hours on Thursday. So that brings me to a whopping 44 hours, and it's only Thursday, and I still got to work tomorrow. So I'm pretty bummed out, or not bummed out, pretty tired. But as always, guys, appreciate every single one of you. And I'm just going to be honest with you real quick. For those of you that tune in to this channel week after week, I don't know how you do it, but I cannot thank you enough. Seeing this channel continue to grow, continuing to get views, is something that in my wildest imagination I never thought would be possible. If you guys are enjoying this content, it really, really means a lot to me. And on occasion I'll hear people reference this channel or things that I've said, and it does feel good to know that there are a small group of people out there actually listening to what I say. And don't listen to everything I say. Don't listen to everything anyone says. Take a little bit of what you like from me. Take a little bit of what you like from other people and make it your own. And I feel like the right answer for every question is always sort of in a gray area, and it's always going to wind up in the middle. And what works for me versus what works for somebody might not be what works for you. Figure out what works for you and then make it your own. This hobby is big. This hobby is vast. You'll never know everything, but you could be a master at least one thing. And then you could be a master at 2, 3, 4, and so on. And one of the beautiful things about this hobby, and one of the beautiful things about your life in general, is hopefully, your brighter days are still ahead. And in order to get to those brighter days, you have time on your side and you can keep growing and you can keep getting better day after day after day. Never look at your collection, never look at your life, never look at what you're doing in this hobby in a month from now or a year from now or 3 years from now and feel like you are in a worse spot. If every day, if every month, if every year you feel like you're just progressing in this hobby and every day and every month and every year is better than the previous one, you know you are going in the right direction. And and there will be bumps along that road, don't get me wrong. But as long as you feel like you are moving in that right direction, your future is bright. The same as I hope mine is, and the same as I think that most people's future is super bright. While this hobby is not new by any sense of the imagination, this hobby is still growing. And you are positioned right now today by watching channels like this, by being actively engaged in the hobby the way you are engaged right now today. I know you are, and I'm talking to you personally. The hobby's future is so bright that you are so well positioned right now today to capitalize in the future that you're going to look back on days like today and you're going to look back on them so fondly. And you're always going to say the what ifs. What if I did more? What if I did better? What if I had a bigger collection? What if I took more risks? You're always going to have that conversation. But just go at a pace that works best for you. And what works best for you is probably going to be different than works for me and other people. Make everything your own. Find whatever works for you. Find your passion in this hobby. Pokemon's a lot of things, but one of the best ways to describe Pokemon and this collecting journey is passion. Be passionate about everything you do in this hobby. Be passionate about every single thing you do in life. And you will be a better person. I promise you that. But as always, guys, appreciate every single one of you. And as always, I'll catch you on the next video.